Here's the quick movie recap of all-time hit movie, The Godfather. Here's we go. The Godfather Don Vito Corleone is the head of the Corleone Mafia family in New York. He is at the event of his daughter's wedding. Michael, Vito's youngest son and a decorated WWII Marine, is also present at the wedding. Michael seems to be uninterested in being a part of the family business. Vito is a powerful man, and is kind to all those who give him respect, but is ruthless against those who do not. But when a powerful and treacherous rival wants to sell drugs, and needs the Don's influence for the same, Vito refuses to do it. What follows is a clash between Vito's fading old values and the new ways, which may cause Michael to do the thing he was most reluctant in doing, and wage a mob war against all the other mafia families, which could tear the Corleone family apart. Did you know, in the end credits, Marlon Brando's name is the only one that is not accompanied by the character name that he plays, as Vito Corleone? Although Mario Puzo is given possessory credit at the beginning, and is credited as a screenwriter at the end, no credit is given to him on screen as author of the original novel, even though that credit is given on the poster. This credit does appear in the second film, however. Up until today, I haven't bothered to review The Godfather. After all, everyone pretty much knows it's one of the greatest films ever made. It's pound 2 on IMDb's Top 100. It won the Best Picture Oscar, and there are nearly 1,600 reviews on IMDb. So what's one more review? Well, after completing 14,000 reviews, because I am nuts, I guess it's time I got around to reviewing a film I should have reviewed a long time ago. So, here goes. The film is perfect, and only a dope wouldn't watch it. Unfortunately, IMDb requires me to say more to meet its 10-line minimum for reviews. So, I'll point out that you do not need to like gangster films to enjoy this film. Yes, it's violent and nasty in spots, but it's also brilliantly written and produced from start to finish and deserves the accolades it's received. My advice is that instead of just watching The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, see the combined version they created for television, with additional scenes that made it a very rich experience. However, not all of the on-set additions to The Godfather were a result of intentional improv. For example, the scene in which Luca Brasi is seen practicing his speech to Don Corleone was actually included as a result of actor Lenny Montana being too nervous to deliver his lines properly. The editors didn't have enough footage of Luca delivering his speech confidently, so they added this scene to explain retroactively that he's nervous and unable to speak clearly. James Caan revealed this in an interview where he also admitted that Montana was very similar to Brasi's character. This scene is hugely effective in setting up Don Corleone as a character before he even appears on screen. Having Brasi seem so nervous and apprehensive about the meeting immediately gets the audience invested, raising questions about the dangerous character that's about to be introduced. The scene may have been an accident, but it actually contributes strongly to the many reasons that Vito is such a fascinating character. It sets up some of Vito Corleone's most iconic traits before the character comes into the story, including those awarding its screenplay, but many of the film's most beloved lines weren't actually written by Coppola at all. The scene where Richard Castellano delivers his iconic, "Leave the gun, take the cannoli" line was a result of the actor's imagination. The line was written as, "Leave the gun," but Castellano reportedly changed it after a suggestion from his wife. The result is one of the film's funniest moments, inserting some much-needed humor into a story that, up to that point, is incredibly dark and bleak. There aren't many outright comedic moments in the Godfather trilogy, but this quick throwaway line has definitely become one of them. It effectively breaks up the tension of the scene, using humor to display how terrible and devoid of morals these characters can be. The Godfather sometimes comes under fire for being too violent or endorsing crime, but scenes like this prove exactly how condemnatory of these characters Coppola's screenplay actually is. It's one of the most iconic images from the entire Godfather trilogy, but the decision to have Don Corleone stroking a cat when he's first introduced wasn't in the first script at all. Coppola admitted during an interview with Time, the cat in Marlon's hands was not planned for. "I saw the cat running around the studio, and took it and put it in his hands without a word." From there, Brando was forced to act out the entire monologue with a cat on his lap, and it immediately gave the character so much depth and presence that Coppola decided to keep it in. The decision to keep this scene was one of Coppola's best, and it's small details like these that contribute strongly to The Godfather's status as one of the greatest movies ever made. This scene has become synonymous with Don Corleone as a character. as it works perfectly to contrast his ruthlessness and intimidation with a more sensitive side. It presents him as reasonable and human despite his willingness to kill and torture, which is exactly what makes him such a terrifying but fascinating character. The decision to keep this scene was one of Coppola's best, and it's small details like these that contribute strongly to The Godfather's status as one of the greatest movies ever made.